And Mike, one of the biggest compliments you can give somebody is they make difficult things look easy. You don't realize how difficult it is until you try to do it yourself, or you try to ask somebody else to do it, and they look at you like you're crazy and say, no, I can't do that. Why do you have that expectation? Why do you have that expectation? The Golden State Warriors have made this look easy, and by this, I mean the entire run, because the run has different iterations and has different nuances and different quirks and different turns, and they made it all look seamless. Let's start from the beginning, where they went from this team, this homegrown team primarily, Mike, but throwing Andre Iguodala as a smart free agent signing. But these guys right here were drafted. Draymond Green, second round. Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, first round picks. They're drafted. The core of this team goes to the championship, wins it against Cleveland, then loses after winning 73 games. After winning 73 games, by the way. They lose it. They incorporate a free agent like Kevin Durant, and it seems like he grew up with them. He fit right in, at least on the court. Maybe off the court was a different story. They win a couple more. They go down to the shadow of the valley of death. They miss the playoffs 2 years. Finish with one of the worst records in the league one of those years. Get lottery picks. Bring Klay Thompson back for 32 games this year. And hey, how you doing? Back in the NBA Finals for the sixth time in 8 years? This is incredible. They are freaks. I say they're freaks of the industry because it's a shout out to the East Bay, shout out to Oakland, shout out to San Francisco, Digital Underground, but different context here. This is freaky what they're doing. And I didn't even mention the head coach, who was with one of the greatest dynasties as a player, the Bulls, and now is with one of the greatest dynasties as a head coach. My salute, my hats off, bow down, whatever you want to do for the Golden State Warriors, whatever your salutation, your greeting and salutation and sign of respect is to the Golden State Warriors, I'm going to give it to them. Incredible job. Props.
Yeah, I'll go back to that Bulls dynasty. Jerry Krause, and he of course caught a lot of flack for this when he said it, and certainly caught a lot more flack for it when it was a big part of the Last Dance documentary, is when he said that players don't win championships, organizations win championships. And right church, wrong pew, or might not even be the right phrasing for it. He just chose the wrong word. He should have said culture wins championships. And that's what I think about when I look at these Warriors and all the iterations of this dynasty. And I just think about the culture. I think about how it's clear that everybody is pulling in the same direction from the top down. It's clear that even though they may be competitive and competitors, they don't have egos, at least at the expense of one another. Steph Curry, a lot of people, there's multiple definitions of the word humble and humility. And a lot of people confuse, humility with, meekness or just being nice and quiet or soft-spoken. And so when you see Steph shimmy, or when you see him do the night-night, or when you see him turn around after shooting a three, it's like, oh, he ain't humble, he's an a-hole. Well, you can be both. Because as a leader and as a culture setter, that humility is what drives these Warriors. You mentioned it. To go from what they were when they were the homegrown Warriors and everybody kind of loved this up-and-coming, fun-loving team, to being the hated Warriors when they infused Kevin Durant, they never got enough credit. And I don't know that Steph got enough credit. In fact, Steph got a demerit in some people's minds, unfortunately, for adding Kevin Durant and riding shotgun, if not taking a back seat in some occasions, the finals in particular, to Kevin Durant. People looked at that as a reason to knock Steph Curry and his greatness, as opposed to looking at it from the standpoint of he's so good that he made life easier for Kevin Durant and moved over seamlessly to incorporate Kevin Durant. So then they go through that 2-year odyssey that you referenced. One where everybody was hurt, and the other one where Steph came back and showed you how great he could be flying solo, so to speak, all right, when he was in the MVP conversation. Then he comes in this year and makes more adjustments and more accommodations. And it's not just Steph Curry, but it of course starts with Steph Curry, at least among the players. But all the while, led by Steph Curry, this organization stayed the course. I mean, they could have blown it up. They could have tried to go for the quick fix. Instead, they took what came to them, and they made the most of it in drafting Wiseman, Kuminga, and Moody, and of course developing Jordan Poole, man. So I just, I think that the hat's off. The Western Conference champion hat goes off, or is tipped to everybody from Joe Lacob to Bob Myers to Steve Kerr, and to this core that is really just kind of stuck together in a unique way. Because you know this, Michael, NBA historian that you are, not every championship core gets along, and they don't have to. They don't have to. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's right.
You don't have to get. You just got to work together on the court, and we could all be successful. But not only do they thrive on the court, they seem to love and pull for one another off the court. Like, that's genuine, this love they have for Klay Thompson. Who Draymond may be the heartbeat of the team, but I would say the soul of the team might be Klay Thompson, one of the most beloved figures in the NBA. To watch them celebrate him last night and just to watch his comeback. You want to talk about inspirational, man. Talk about the valley of the shadow of death. His injury, or his second injury, I should say, was really what we thought was the last night of the Warriors dynasty. I think it came out around the draft, that news that he had torn his ACL after tearing his Achilles in the final. And so for him to come back and be the player that he is, and again, everybody is fine not being in the spotlight. And yet, here they are once again back in the limelight. Just an incredible story of culture, incredible story of shared commitment. I'm one of those people, Michael, a lot of people get bored with greatness. They get bored with reruns. See, I'm one of those people that watch the same movie over and over again, as you know. You know what I mean? Right. That's why I can quote them so well. I don't mind seeing reruns. I don't mind greatness, because I'm more of an appreciator than I am a hater. So this is an opportunity to appreciate this journey from 2015 to 2022 and say, wait, what are they doing so well that not only the rest of the league can learn from, but we could all learn from in whatever walk of life that we're in, whatever arena we're in. We may not be in the NBA arena, but there's lessons to be learned about how to lead, how to follow, how to stay the course, how to believe, how to unite, how to share. I mean, it's really, there's not, I put it this way, there's not gonna be a documentary where somebody, or a book written 10, 20 years from now, where somebody's like, man, I really couldn't stand that guy, or that guy was jealous, or I didn't get what I deserved from the media, or I was a better player than I got credit. None of that. You ain't seeing none of that with this group. Ain't no dirty laundry to be aired with this group. The closest thing was when Kevin Durant and Draymond kind of like, they had their clash toward the end. But other than that, this is not only a dynasty, this is the prototypical dynasty. This is a flagship franchise. This is the model organization, not just in the NBA, but perhaps in all the professional sports right now.
Yeah, they make it look good. And it's funny, the reason I start smiling at the very beginning of your comments when you made that reference to Jerry Krause,
you knew where
God
I was
is my witness. No, God is my witness. Oh, did I know where you were going? This morning, I was about to write in the feed, organizations indeed win championships. I was about to say it. I was about to make a reference to that and flip it around. Yeah. And it's funny how you bring in the Bulls too with The Last Dance. And you mentioned Michael. So Michael did it too. They won 6 in 8, which is just crazy. They won 6 championships in 8 years. But it's different. It's a different feel, as you just referenced. Like Horace Grant and Michael Jordan, they ain't cool. Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, they ain't cool. So there's some people at their core, they were homegrown too, but as Klay Thompson quotes John Wooden and says, it's amazing what you can accomplish when nobody is worried about who gets the credit. Yeah. So that's the difference between the Bulls and the Warriors. So look, I don't know.
They're very Spurs-like. They're very They're more Spurs than they are Bulls.
Right,
Michael?
Did Jordan need the credit? Did Jordan need the credit, or he was fine with all the credit he was getting? Was it his teammates who were saying, well, wait a minute, man. Why don't you put in a good word for a brother when you're up there during your press conferences, instead of saying my supporting cast? Stop talking like that. Why don't you give us some love? I don't know what the dynamics were internally, but I know that's not the issue with the Golden State Warriors, and you're right. Spurs, where Steve Kerr also has a background, the Spurs weren't like that.
Right.
The Spurs, it was
Popovich,
Duncan, Robinson, all those guys, Manu, Parker, and it was just it was cool. They had a lot
that's not to say that the Bulls way, it obviously worked, or the Lakers way, with Shaq and rest in peace Kobe Bryant, it obviously worked. But this is just, and it's also fun to watch the evolution of how this team is covered, is dissected, is discussed. Because as you know, they were young and cute. We went over this before. They went from young and cute to once they started winning too much, people started hating them. And then when they added Kevin Durant, and I'll come back to that in a second, people really hated on him. Oh, you got to get Kevin Durant in order to beat LeBron James. And then they fell off, and we thought the dynasty, or some people thought the dynasty was over. And then they come back, and now we appreciate Steph as he's putting on a show, trying to, fight the good fight practically by himself from an offensive standpoint last year, getting them to the play-in, but not the playoffs for a second straight year. And then back to this year, where early in the year, it's like, oh, okay, this team is fun again. This team is lovable again. We could root for this team again, says some of the former haters, some of the reformed haters. We can root for this group again. And early in the season, to say that nobody thought they'd be here, at least this year, I'm not talking about the last 3 years or what have you, but this year, that's not true, because early in the year, everybody thought they get Clay back, and he's an approximation of what he used to be. They're going to be a problem in the playoffs. We didn't see Jordan Poole coming like this, or even Andrew Wiggins doing this in the playoffs. But and even we talked about the other day, Wiggins, and what he's become, all because of the culture here. You know what I mean? So, this is why, man, I'm reluctant to make definitive declarations when it comes to special people. I don't have the receipts, but you and I had some discussions over the last couple of years about.
I'm walking out now. I mean,
you gonna say the same thing?
Oh my.
You gonna say the same thing again? That's two.
On a different topic. Absolutely.
What topic? Go ahead. What topic?
I was gonna say it just like that. Way down the bottom, hip hop. I told you yesterday. I sent you a text yesterday off a Common freestyle. I heard it on Power 106 in LA. Keep it in California. The LA Leakers. You ever hear that? It's like they just bring MCs on and just have them freestyle. I heard a Common freestyle. It was so dope. 8 minutes. It was incredible. And I was like, you know what? During his shout out, he was thanking them for inviting him on the show. During his shout out, he was like, hey, Common is like, hey, I just want to shout out all the people who have been here. Shout out KRS-One. Shout out Rakim. Shout out Big. Shout out Andre 3000. He's going on and on. I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done with top fives in hip hop. Over. I will never do it again. There is no top five for me in hip hop. There's just too many great people to trivialize what they've done.
So you're talking about the declaration part.
Yeah, the declaration of
that's the word.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. All right. Okay.
Yeah, it's too many this is the best MC, or he's the top 5 MC.
Right.
Oh, he's not top 5. She's not top 5. It's too many people, and it's too much greatness for us to just kind of compartmentalize and push people to the side.
I really that's a great job of sticking a little sidebar in there. That was an awesome sidebar. I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about the declaration of they're done. The dynasty's dead. I'm sure you remember those conversations that you and I had. I'm like, I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so certain about that because, and it was all big ifs, granted. It was big ifs. But if Clay can come back, Steph will be Steph. Why can't they compete for championships? Did I think it would be a matter of one season? No, because I mean, in the time we've been on the air, they've been a borderline playoff team last year, and now back in the NBA Finals. So it happened faster than I thought. My point is, when you have people like this to say what they won't do, can't do, or are done doing definitively, I think is a mistake a lot of times.
Yes.
But the other mistake that we made is with Kevin Durant. and again, I say we, but a lot of people looked at it through the prism of Durant, or the negative, from a negative perspective, I should say, both Durant and the Warriors. Durant that, you couldn't beat him, so you joined him. You blew the 3-1 lead. Now you go join the team that beat you in the Western Conference Finals that year. And then, from the Warriors' perspective, it's like, oh, don't y'all have enough? Do y'all have to get Kevin Durant too? That's the only way you're around LeBron James, go get the second best or even the best player in the world? When really it was a commentary and a reflection of just how fun it is to be a part of that group. And how much Durant at the time, now he left, but at the time was like, I just want to be a part of that. Or the Warriors being like, hey, why not add somebody who is not, it's not the quick fix that it is for a lot of teams. A lot of teams, like, their chemistry is so incredible that it could sustain or it could survive these various iterations. Like, even making room for Jordan Poole, for crying out loud. It's just incredible how everybody eats B with the Golden State Warriors. Whereas, a lot of other teams are like, oh, if we get this star, and voila, we got a championship. Like, this team has managed to marry being both homegrown and being aggressive when it comes to additions and spending money in a way that few, if any, other franchise has.
And listen, they've done some maneuvering here now. It's like, we've kind of...
No question. They ain't just sat on their hands.
We kind of glossed over it. But how about at one point, let's talk about some of the people who were Warriors. At one point, D'Angelo Russell was a Golden State Warrior.
Right. Who they flipped for Andrew Wiggins.
They bring in D'Angelo Russell, they make that trade, and they bring him back. And then at the very beginning of the dynasty, they really have been, here's the word I want to use, very intentionally use this word with the Golden State Warriors. They've been blessed. They've been blessed. They really have. You think about their story. They've had, so Iguodala is a free agent. It's very rare to get a free agent like that who was raised in another organization and who becomes known. I don't think about Iguodala as a Sixer. I don't think about Iguodala as a Nugget, not as a Nugget.
Oh, look at the guy.
Iguodala is a Warrior.
Look at the guy who handed Steph Curry the Magic Johnson Western Conference Finals MVP trophy, Sean Livingston. Harrison Barnes, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
It really just comes down to people. I'm telling you, man, people are going to rue some of those days. And there's a lot of, as they say nowadays, freezing cold takes about Steph Curry and his greatness, or in some cases, his overratedness, let some people tell it. This is a bad day for a lot of people, but it's a great day for sports. It's a great day for the NBA that the Warriors are back in the NBA Finals.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.